So there were two female YouTubers who made the statement in their video. They said that the movie Boomerang somehow subconsciously got men to choose women based on whether or not if they had cute feet or not, which is kind of ridiculous. Now, I do believe, and I do not disagree with the fact that movies, music, media, television, what have you, does have an effect on the psyche, the subconscious, and it can cause us to change our moods, the way we behave. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. But I do think that as an individual, you have the responsibility to know what you're letting into your subconscious and what you're watching, what you're entertaining. If you start feeling some type of way when you're watching certain things, that's your duty to, digress. Again, I do agree that the movies do influence us. I mean, a horror flick, it affects your behavior. Comedies, romantic films make a lot of females cry, and they make a lot of men puke. See, it does have an effect on us. But I'm going to examine the movie and see why that I don't understand how the two females who made that statement could only get that one point that it made men somehow want to go for a female because of the way her feet look. Because that's pretty much a small, minute point in the movie. There's bigger points in the movie that I want to examine and say, what do you think that taught men about women? Foot fetishes seem to be one of the major fetishes that you see if you watch a lot of talk shows or sitcoms throughout the years. You notice that was one of the points that men get made fun of a lot for having foot fetishes. You see, guys messing with female shoes. I remember Sister that was on that episode before. I think him and Mr. Cooper, they might have had an episode doing that. But you notice it's been used over and over again, and it's funny because like when a male has a foot fetish, it's like it's something to make fun of. But I guess females can have fetishes too, and no one cares, or it's not that important. Like some chicks have fetishes like tattoos or a whole bunch of baby mamas or has a criminal record. But hey, everybody has a fetish. My personal opinion is if you have cute feet, that's cool. I mean, who cares? If you don't, just wear socks. That's just how I feel. I mean, it's not a big deal breaker. But again, I noticed that in television, when it comes to foot fetishes, it seems to be made fun of a lot. And I only think, to me, it's like maybe because a lot of females don't have cute feet, that's why they don't like that fetish. I'm just thinking out loud. Possibly could it be? Now, even though both these females made the statement that the movie made men in the early 90s, because that's when the movie came out, interested in a female based on her feet, even though he didn't choose the girl he chose because of her feet, ironically. That's a point that I don't understand. How could you miss that when it only really shows you him looking at female feet for two females in the whole movie? And he ended up with neither one of the females who he did look at their feet. Let's do a quick introduction to these characters. Just the four major ones that matter for the point of this video. So we start off with Eddie Murphy's character, Mr. Marcus. He's the typical PUA, pickup artist, whoremonger, some would say. Or some would say he just knows what he wants and he goes for it. But he has to lie and play games to get what he wants, so we can't necessarily say he has game when he has to use trickery and foolery to get the attention of a female. But he's the main character, and he's the so-called bad guy in the movie. Character will have to be Robin Givens' character. She's, I guess, the every feminist dream, the over-sexual, high-powered, intelligent, independent female who is pretty much the male version of Marcus. Definitely head full of weave, makeup, real sensual, real sexual, very enticing. She has the big hair and, well, that's all that's big on her. I guess back in the 90s then was in. But she's definitely the video vixen of the early 90s. In door number 3, we have David Allen Greer, the typical white knight, Captain Save-A-Ho. Simp. He's constantly putting female attention in front of his own, putting it on a pedestal. He's the so-called nice guy, and we'll explain him later on why he's really just a loser. Last but not least would have to be a girl, Halle Berry. She's supposed to be the token good girl, but she's not a good girl at all. But she's the modest. You know, she's not very sexual, not very sensual. She's supposed to be the quiet, the funny girl, the girl you can hang out with and kick it with and watch a ball game and play a video game with. She's supposed to be that quintessential female that most guys want to have. Actually, this is supposed to be the female that a lot of you females claim you are in the comments that I read when you make that notion that, you know, why are guys with those girls that look like that and why aren't they with girls that look like me? Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. But there she goes, the token good girl, who's not really a good girl at all. The scene in the movie where Eddie Murphy is just introduced to Halle Berry's character. I didn't even recognize that in the beginning until I just watched this over again to do this video. That Halle Berry's character just came to the company when Halle Berry came to the company, so it's not like he knew it before or previous to this scene. So this is the scene where Halle Berry's making this notion of I think that Rob McGibbon's character is attractive and trying to play that game where, well, I see why men like her, blah blah blah. If I were a guy, I would like her too. You know, kind of playing that little mind game where, do you think she's hot? Because if you think she's hot, you might not find me attractive or whatever. But she goes on and plays that game. Now, the whole time as you look at Eddie Murphy's face, he's looking at Rob McGibbon's like, oh, where she's going, I gotta get that. He's paying absolutely no attention to Halle Berry's character. In fact, what does he do? He passes her over to his white knight of a man, giant of a friend. Like, you know what? You two both look lame. You could be lame together. If things only worked out that way. So he leaves the situation, the conversation. Meaning, this is the first time they had a conversation in the movie, and he totally blew her off. In fact, like I said, he gave her up to his boy who happened to be an idiot when it comes to talking to females, and acted all shy, and didn't have any what you would call nowadays swag or game or what have you. He just sits there looking stupid. So even though Eddie Murphy clearly paid no attention to her, he passed her off to his boy, she constantly still has this allure or this attraction to find out who he is and learn more about him. There's like 3 scenes in the movie where it seems that if she has to bring up Jacqueline, the woman who Eddie Murphy does like, in order to seem like she can have a conversation with him, which is kind of lame. She the whole time, this is after Eddie Murphy had already introduced her to David Alan Grier's character. So it's like the whole time she works with him, but the whole time she's like trying to get to know him and see what's in his head and all those things. But she's not saying anything at all about the guy who he hooked her up with. She's completely ignoring him. She's already written him off. She constantly defends Eddie Murphy's character. When Rob McGibbons and him had their little spat and they broke up, she went to her and said, you know, whatever you're doing to him, stop. Like, she stuck up for him throughout the entire movie until towards the end, until after she became not the good girl so much anymore.
You know, just take somebody that you love, just sit back, relax, throw on the jazz, and just chill. You know? That's something you can do with Jacqueline gets in town, you know?
Then we're done.
I know it's none of my business what's going on with you and Marcus, but can you try to take it easy on him, please? Excuse me? Well, whatever it is you're doing to him, it's starting to affect his work.
What I am doing to him?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it seems like whatever it is I'm doing to him, you are taking rather personally. Am I mistaken? Huh?
No, Jackie. I'm just saying, it's just affecting his work, that's all.
This idea.
Well, you know Marcus and his big ideas.
I do.
You know, speaking of Marcus, I hear he's got a real reputation.
Uh-huh. Booty T told you that, right? Well, Angela, I can confirm that Marcus's reputation is extremely well deserved.
You can confirm it? Like, you and Marcus have...
Oh, God, this man, he's wonderful. I mean, he's he's magnificent. And he just happens to have the best ass I have ever seen.
Could you fathom a guy going up to one of his coworkers, his boss even, and asking about a female? Like, yo, I heard this chick had a reputation. Is that true? And your boss goes, not only is it true, but they can confirm that it's true. Now, keep it in context. Of course, some men, if it was a female that was loose like that and he wanted to smash, of course he's trying to inquire to smash too. But in context, inquiring about the female to make a relationship with, that's not really going to happen from a guy. He's not going to go to one of his boys or his coworkers or friends and say, oh, what's up with her? Is she a freak? Oh, snaps. I want to be in a relationship with her. Most men would be like, nah, she's not the type of chick that I want to be with. She might say to herself, like, maybe I shouldn't mess with that girl. You would think that a female would say, I don't want to mess with that guy, and maybe she would try to stay away from him. But in fact, you see her face is all googly-eyed. In fact, her talking about him only encourages her to want him more. But a female will comment and say that that's a double standard. It's not a double standard. It's a matter of different standards. When it comes to choosing a mate, females don't have any standards. I guess I can interject this story real quick. I remember in high school there was one of our football players, running back. He was a star towards his senior year because the other guys had left. But he was a real popular kid. Some would call him a PUA, some would call him a player, some would call him a whoremonger. Let's just say he got it in. And well, his girlfriend, I used to catch the bus with her sometimes. I think towards her senior year or her junior year, one or the other. I used to catch the bus with her, and I would notice she would sit on the bus in the front. She was quiet. She didn't say too much. Of course, guys would try to talk to her, whatnot, and she would just ignore them or blow them off, say she had a man, whatever. You know, average-looking female. You know, but it seemed like she had her head on her shoulders. She was smart. She was going on the right path. I guess she was going to. She graduated from high school at 17 before she even turned 18, and she was going to be a dentist. But I noticed that she was mad, focused, and she wasn't letting no dudes get and talk to her or anything like that. Meanwhile, her boyfriend at the time, our side running back, was banging any chick he could. I mean, he was mad popular. I mean, we could be at football practice, and chicks from other schools would walk by, and they shout him out by name because they knew who he was. He was that type of dude. Now, the funny thing that's not so funny is like, when I think towards her senior, when she was after she graduated, she was in college. She got a little car, which was his senior year, my junior year, and she would come pick him up. And I noticed that like a lot of females, when she would come do that, if they were sitting outside, they would laugh. They would walk up and flaunt in front of her and laugh in her face because they all knew that her man that she was stuck by so faithfully with was banging everything he could see. And they didn't fight amongst each other and themselves. They all didn't mind using them as a walking, talking dildo. But on the other hand, they thought that they were doing something by getting in her face. Now, I thought about that situation. And I'm thinking like, that's when it dawned on me that most of these chicks that claim to be victims are not victims, but they're volunteers. They voluntarily choose these type of people. They don't have their best interest at heart. Now, to me, what does it make me do? When I looked at that situation, it made me just take females less seriously. Like when a female would come at you like with some sob story about he did this, that, and that to me, I just would ignore them. I wouldn't care, because to me it's like you chose to be with him, you knew who he was, and you chose to deal with that. Well, back to that story. Me and him, he graduated before me, and I hadn't really talked to him until like about literally over a year ago. He hit me up on Facebook and he's trying to catch up, talk to me, and I'm like not really interested in talking to him. But I asked him, so what happened to old girl? And he goes and says, yeah, I messed that up. I'm like, oh, how so? He was like, I guess after high school they stayed together for a while. They moved in with each other and whatnot. But I guess she caught him cheating in the act. Now, keep in mind, he had been cheating on her since the inception of their relationship, since they were younger. I guess he probably was about 16 and she was probably pushing 15, probably still 14. But the fact that she caught him in the act finally made her break up with him. So you think, boom, she smartened up, she moved on. No, I guess he said that the time they were apart, he ended up getting another chick pregnant. And she wanted to get back with him, but she found out that he had another girl pregnant. And she finally got some standards and more and said, I can deal with you cheating on me since the inception of our relationship. But the fact that you got another female pregnant, I can't deal with that. So that relationship ended finally. But it took for him to get another female pregnant for her to say, we can't do that. She was going to marry this dude, even though she knew how he was in his past and what have you. Like I said, these females are not victims, they're volunteers.
Idea.
Well, Marcus and his big ideas.
I do.
Speaking of Marcus, I hear he's got a real reputation.
Uh-huh. Brody T told you that, right? Well, Angela, I can confirm that Marcus's reputation is extremely well deserved.
You can confirm it? Like, you and Marcus have...
Oh, God, this man, he's wonderful. I mean, he's he's magnificent. And he just happens to have the best ass I have ever seen.
She's over here getting all inquiring about Marcus, Eddie Murphy's character. How does she feel about David Allen Greer? How does she feel about the guy that's actually taking the time to get to know her? How does she feel about the guy that's actually somewhat putting her on a pedestal and trying to be a friend and getting to know her, instead of just jumping into a relationship? The guy who's trying to see if he measures up to her, which was a big mistake. How does she feel about him? He's not going ham. He's not being sexual. He's just on eggshells because he thinks that she's a cool person. But how does she feel about him?
I just don't want them to think we're a couple.
Don't even trip. Gerard ain't that close to his father, first of all.
I knew it. Gerard is really a fun guy, isn't he?
It is very much fun.
It's his father and his mother that are the square ones.
So let's examine why is he a captain, a mangina, a white knight. She even calls him a square, and that's exactly what the fembot Deborah Cooper refers to the men in this category. She calls them lame. She says they have no swag, what have you. But let's examine why I think he's a simp. Well, for one, he's putting a female's attention above his own. See, he put her on a pedestal. In the process, he got pissed on. Why did he do that? Instead of coming at her all aggressive and trying to commit to her soon, he thought that he would see how she was and how he was, and not necessarily how she was, but see if he even measured up to her standards. One of the issues was he had a low sperm count. He asked her how many kids does he want. Now he know he can't fulfill that, probably, so of course that makes him feel some type of way. And that probably makes him digress on pursuing her because he's like, damn, she wants a lot of kids and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to have any. But again, he's putting her well-being before his own. He's seeing if he measures up to her. He put her on a pedestal. And that's why he ended up in the situation that he was in. He claimed that she was a good girl. And on the surface, that's what it seemed like she was. She wasn't the sensual chick. She wasn't the video vixen. She was the average plain Jane regular girl, which is odd that a lot of times in these comments in the videos on YouTube you see that statement, these men are chasing after XYZ and they need to get with us that look like this are just regular chicks. But he's going after the regular chick. He's not going after a chick that one could say is out of his league or has he couldn't meet their standards or requirements. He's just a regular guy with a good job, normal dude. She's a regular chick with a good, decent job, normal girl. But apparently that's not enough for her, and he doesn't measure up to her standards. Why else does he get the title White Knight? Because he is lame. Now, the girl that he was pursuing that wasn't really feeling him, she chose his boy who was introducing him in the first place. Now, instead of saying, you know what, something's wrong with that chick, she's like every other female, I'm gonna have to steer clear of her, he gets mad at his own boy, his boy who he been boys with since they were children, his boy who he considers his own brother. He gets mad at him for sleeping with her. When men can only pursue women, women always choose their men. So she chose him and not him, and he gets mad about it, and he storms off like a female. That's kind of lame. It's kind of like the same thing when a female says, why don't you stop going after girls like that and get with girls like us? Well, when men do that, it's absolutely lame, and when you do it, it's just as lame. See, I don't understand this whole point of view. When I was younger and I see a girl, she was into guys that were kind of not law-abiding citizens or really promiscuous or didn't have their best interest at heart, I wouldn't look at them like, oh, I wish she would just be with me instead of being with him. To me, she was off limits. Now, don't get it twisted. At that time of my youth, when I was a heathen, when I lived that life, of course I might still want to smash, but as in being in a serious relationship with her, that wasn't gonna happen. She proved to me that she didn't have any standards. She proved to me that she was a low quality female. No matter how intelligent, no matter how smart, no matter how cute she was, something about her was off to me, because I see how he is, but I'm not gonna knock him for being who he is. That's who he is. I'm gonna knock her for choosing that, because she makes the final decision. Men only pursue, women always choose. So again, that's why David Allen Grant's character is lame, because he gets mad at his own boy for doing what his boy's been doing his whole life. I can't get mad at him. I'm gonna say, yo, she chose him. I had to move on.
No, nothing like that. Why you asking, man? I was just curious. I don't believe this shit. Why you asking? You can't even look me in my eye, can you, Marcus? Did you sleep with Angela? Yeah, I did. Why do you always have to have all the girls, Marcus?
Just said a couple seconds ago you didn't care who she went out with. Now you find out it's me and you're flipping, you know? You're being a hypocrite.
I want to hear that bullshit, man. This is different. Angela is a nice girl.
So I can't be with a nice girl?
No. Because all you're going to do is dog her out like you do every woman in your life. Okay, tell me this, man. Why Angela? What, she has nice feet?
Oh, it has nothing to do with her feet or anything like that, man. I care about this
Man,
girl.
you care about nobody but yourself, man.
Now, speaking of the good girl, now this is the thing I don't understand. Why is she the good girl? Now, throughout the beginning of the whole entire movie, she was the nice chick, the cool chick, quiet, modest, simple, funny. She was cool, everyday average female. Good, I don't know about all that. You see, she chose a guy that she knew wasn't good for her, that didn't have her best interest at heart, knowing beforehand. Yet she still considered a good girl. So you say that why do men go after women like that, choose that go after men like that? It's because they have an appearance of being pleasant females, being cool females. He doesn't know that she has some desire to be with a guy that doesn't want to respect her or treat her right. And that's, if you look at what Deborah Cooper said, she said that she was the quintessential good girl. Her father had her on lock. He didn't let her date anybody that he didn't feel comfortable around his daughter. And what did she do? She said as soon as she became of age, she chose to be with men, the opposite of what her father taught her to be with. Now, how could you be a good girl if you do something stupid like that? Now, keeping in mind, what do you think all those guys who were pursuing her before that her father let her date were thinking now? Like, yo, they thought that they had an opportunity, thought that she was a cool chick, they thought she had a respectable father that was in her life, that took care of her, that was protecting her. So they probably had in the same mindset that they were good. She was a good girl, but they didn't have the idea that she was dealing with criminals and drug addicted or alcoholic dudes. Again, you see the illusion of a good girl. You think like she's a cool chick, and she may appear to be that way, but you don't know that she has some desire to be in a messed up situation. So now you got the quintessential good girl who gave Eddie Murphy's character the buns up after sitting on the couch for 2 minutes next to him, and all her good girl stuff. I don't understand how she could still be the good girl when she just gave up the buns to a guy that she knew. Let's recap. She knew he had a promiscuous lifestyle. She knew that he was in love or in lust with Rob McGivinn's character. She knew that he wasn't the type of guy to settle down because obviously by his track record, he's been around the block a few times. Yet she still chose to give him access to her body, mind, and soul without demanding that he first take responsibility or prove that he would even try to do so. Now, the man Giant White Knight, David Allen Greer, he was attempting to prove himself worthy, which he didn't because he ended up being a lame. But the guy who was trying to prove himself to her, he didn't pass the test. But Eddie Murphy's character, who didn't try at all, he was just being himself, and he passed. So she gave the guy the chance that proving himself to be unworthy, and she didn't give the guy a chance who was trying to prove himself worthy. And like what we all knew was going to happen, the first opportunity, the guy she chose, the so-called bad guy that she chose, that she knew about from the get-go, when he did what he was going to do from the first place, sleep with another woman, she act like she's the victim. Now she's all butthurt, and she's all sad because, you know, she's a woman scorned now, and it kind of plays into that whole thing that you see on Facebook or YouTube, those quotes where women say like, you gotta kiss a couple frogs before you find your prince, or you gotta go through a few bad ones to truly appreciate a good one, all that bullcrap. See, now up until this point where she gave Eddie Murphy the buns, she was a nice girl, but every scene after that, she's foul-mouthed, she's loud, she's ignorant, she's the woman scorned because she was a good girl, but she gave her heart to a bad guy, and now she's a bitter bitch. I mean, pay attention to that. Through the whole movie, she doesn't say one foul word or one use any negative or vulgar language through the entire beginning of the movie. But once Eddie Murphy, so-called, as she said, it hurt her heart. Now she's just this evil, bat, you know what, crazy female.
In the middle of the night.
I went for a walk so I could sort some things out that was in my head that I was tripping on.
Like the fact that you're still in love with Jacqueline, right?
Angela, I saw the woman and a bunch of stuff that was in me I didn't even know was still there came out. Things happen. There's certain things you just have no control over, right?
Really? Like what?
Like love.
Love. You know, what do you know about love? What do you possibly think you know about love? You know, I'm sick and tired of men using love like it's some kind of disease you just catch. Love should have brought your ass home last night.
Didn't you just hear me say I was sorry?
I heard you say you're sorry. You're sorry and you're tired. You don't love me. You don't love Jacqueline. You only love your damn self.
How could you say I never cared about you? You know, Jacqueline says that I'm a better person now, and I know I owe that all to you.
I'm out of here. I'll get the rest of my things later. Let me just tell you one more thing. I might not be all glamorous, and I don't have hair weaved all down my back, but let me tell you one great thing about me, all right? I've got heart. And you know the bad thing about having heart, Marcus? Is that it gets broken when you deal with people like you. Now stay the fuck out of my life.
I know I fucked up.
You're damn right you fucked up. You hurt me.
I miss you. No, I really, really miss you. I've never missed anybody in my life, and I miss you. I'm in love with you.
Well, this isn't about your love. It's about the fact that you can't love me the way I deserve to be loved. That's what this is about.
You think I'd come down here and bother you unless I was ready to be everything you wanted in a relationship? I want to be straight up about everything. I want to have a monogamous relationship. You are my best friend. I'm miserable without you. I even quit my job because of you.
Did I ask you to quit your job?
Why are you doing this?
Doing what?
Being all stiff and cold and hiding behind your work.
I'm taking care of my business, and I suggest you take care of yours.
Listen, I know having a great job is cool and all of that, but you used to have a good time. You used to be with these kids, and me and you used to have fun, and we had a great life. You had everything.
Give me one reason why I should take you back. One. I didn't think you could.
Notice that statement that she made. She said that either you can't love me the way I need to be loved or how I needed to be loved. Yet she had someone who pursued her that most likely would have loved her more than he even loved himself. In fact, he did do that kind of sort of in pursuing her because he wanted to see if he measured up to her standards. But that's not the guy she chose. She chose a guy that did what he did. And even at the end of the movie, she still chose him after all the things he did and put her through. She still decided to be with him. But now she's this new changed woman. She's this bitter, scorned woman. Now we know in real life she'd eventually stay with him for a little while and then they would have broke up. But then she'd be like a total bitch towards every man she dated after him because of what he did. But it's not what he did, it's what she chose. And that's the whole point of the whole video. This guy, David Allen Gray's character, went out of his way to put her on a pedestal. He went out of the way to treat her like a queen or what have you or whatnot. But she didn't choose him. She still chose a guy that was promiscuous, that was a whoremonger, as some of you call them, or a player or what have you. But she chose that guy, even though she knew what she was getting into in the first place. Now, this is the question. Two females brought up the point about the feet, as if that was relevant, because he didn't choose the girl based on her feet. And he even said that in the video. It had nothing to do with that. He said he cared about her. But what do you think this taught men about women when a guy can be promiscuous, sleep around, talk to as many women as you want, and still get not the hood rat chick that you keep claiming that men are going after, not the low quality female, but the average, decent, everyday female? What does it say? What does that teach men about women when that theme is constantly being pushed in the media? You think the feet changed men's mind into, or somehow got into men's mind to say, yeah, I'm gonna go with the girl because her feet look cute. But what do you think the whole damn theme of the movie taught men about women? Huh? I'll wait.
Why don't you just tell her the truth? Tell her you're gonna use her, then you're gonna dump her like you did me.
Excuse me, I did not dump you. We went out, it was whack, and it was your fault, and I wish, look, why don't you get over it and go find another man, huh? Get out of here.
I hope you catch a disease and your dick falls off. I'm sick with my own things.
I want 24/7.
No.
And that's how committed I am.
No, I'm not doing it. If you even turn and look at her, I will break your fucking neck.
I'm not even looking at that. I was looking at this woman. Thinking about the future. That's you in 15 years.
You gotta still love me.
You can see she by herself, right?